Good morning and welcome to a video. This is not going to be live. Today, this video, I just felt compelled to make it. I'm not going to edit it. I'm just going to say what I have to say. And I guess it's popular to call this a rant. It kind of is a rant, but I think in the end, there might be a lesson to learn from it. This morning, I got my coffee, going through my typical routine. I'll get my cappuccino. Well, it's actually a mochaccino. I put a teaspoon of Hershey's chocolate. I don't put sugar or anything. I just put a teaspoon of Hershey's chocolate. Because if your coffee is a little bitter, and even your favorite coffee, there'll be some variation sometimes. If it's a little bit bitter, it takes the bitterness away. So that's what I was doing this morning. And when I'm having that coffee, I'll usually sit in my armchair and I'll turn on the TV and I'll turn it on to YouTube. And there's a couple things. There'll be 5 or 6 minute clips of maybe some news that happened, or we all have our certain channels. And so I kind of scan through, see if there's anything of interest as I'm sipping down my coffee. I'll spend about a half an hour. Some days I might make some empanadas. Some days I might make an arepa to go with that coffee. So this morning, I'm doing just that. Got my coffee, and today I actually just made 2 pieces of toast. And I ran into this. I'm not going to tell you who it is. It doesn't really matter. So I don't want to point at one set of idiots when there's so many out there to choose from. But it's basically YouTuber in Armenia. And so, okay, well, let me check that out. It said it was 29 minutes long. I wasn't going to watch the 29 minutes, but let's see what somebody has to say about Armenia. I never heard of this guy. And it's a black guy with this white guy. But I got the impression, and I might not be right on this, but the white guy was maybe another YouTuber hanging with him. And I think I caught something about he's very familiar with Kali. So maybe he's from Kali. I don't know. Their first time in Armenia. And they're walking around. That's cool. But there was just this constant drumbeat about how sketchy it is and how dangerous it is. And over and over and over, are we in the barrio? Where's the barrio? Oh, that looks like a barrio. Oh, we're in the barrio now. Barrio means neighborhood. He's referring to it as the hood. Well, that's not what barrio means. Barrio is a neighborhood. You can have a mansion here, and it's a barrio. It has a name. It's a district in the city that helps you know where you're going. It was just silliness. Now, am I ranting about that? No, it's just ignorance. And if you're putting a video out to talk about a place, you should at least have some basic knowledge of what's coming out of your mouth, but that's neither here nor there, I guess. But throughout this video, there were things that just really annoyed me. For example, they were walking in a place where you saw a taxi go by once in a while, but there was basically no people, and they were talking about how dangerous it was. As they're walking on this nice sidewalk, next to this nice paved road with this long flowered hedgerow that was neatly trimmed. I don't think the criminals are out there trimming the bushes in this hood to pounce on you. They were walking in a nice area, but they just kept playing it up about, what if somebody jumps out at us? What are we going to do? And it was kind of nauseating. But then they come to a crossroad, and across the street is an abuela, an older lady, and she's got one of those sidewalk stands where she's cooking up arepas. And I don't know if it's her husband or uncle or whatever standing there. and he's wearing a white, what do you call them, wife beater t-shirt. It's probably a warmer part of the day. They were in the South. I knew where they were. They weren't in a dangerous section at all. But behind her was a little tienda. So they go up to the tienda, and the one guy goes in, and he comes out with, I think, a water. And he says, "You want one?" "No, I don't want one." So they walk away. And as they're walking away on the same sidewalk, they're 3 feet away, and they start laughing about how oblivious these people are of the real world. And it was, what the hell are you talking about? And why are you mocking these people? And if you're going to mock the people, why are you doing it where they're hearing you? Say, well, they don't speak English. Yeah, but the sarcasm and the laughter, and I mean, it was just pretty obvious. So you go to a place that you don't know, and you just start mocking out the people that you run into. Now, look, I'm not a prude. One of my favorite hobbies is to, go somewhere, sit down, and people watch. And in my mind, or if I'm with a close friend, you'll see somebody go by and you'll say outrageous, ridiculous things, but you're saying them to each other. It's not real. It's not sincere. You're not going up to them and insulting them, and you'd be mortified if anybody actually heard you say some of the outrageous things. You're just doing it to, as an inside joke kind of thing. I get that. But to essentially spit in somebody's face, who was very nice to them, by the way, I just don't get it. These are the kind of people that shouldn't be out walking around and running into, it just kind of, we wonder where, sometimes in particular countries, you get the ugly American title. That's kind of what was going on. So then they're walking up this hill on the sidewalk, and they're in a barrio that had more basic, more rustic houses. They had the tin roofs, but they were, I would say it was a Stratus 2 barrio. So, I mean, full utilities and brick walls and windows and paved street and little tiendas. Yep, everything was spotless clean. I would have no problem. I've actually walked in that bar. I've walked in most of them in the city in Armenia, if you know my past videos. Very comfortable place to go. So they're walking up, and he's playing up, "Oh, we're in the hood now. We're in the hood now. Keep your eyes peeled." And, it's okay. It's verbal clickbait, I guess. There's this girl sitting outside of her house, minding her own business, not paying attention to these guys that are walking by. She was doing something. I'd have to go back and look at the video, and I don't want to. But, she was occupied with whatever she was doing. So they at least this time, they waited till they got 20, 25 feet away, and they start laughing amongst themselves about who she wanted the most. Yeah, she was eyeing me. No, it was okay. Couple guys, no big deal. I guess if that was the only thing in this video, it wouldn't have bothered me. Guys will be guys. But taking it in with everything else that had gone on to this video so far, it's like, dude, why are you making a video? You're just showing how disgusting you are, how classless, how ignorant you are. And to constantly say, we're in undiscovered country, Armenia, Colombia. Nobody knows about this place. We're in undiscovered country. He said, I don't know how many times he said it. No, dude, you're not in undiscovered country. You're an idiot. And, and then they're in a taxi, and he put some subtitles. The white guy was sitting in the front, and he was talking with the taxi driver. Now, the white guy, his Spanish is about as good as mine. It's like he could speak more than he could understand, and some of the things the taxi driver was saying, it was clear he didn't actually understand what he was saying. But because of the paraphrasing subtitles. And so the paraphrasing subtitles were actually not intentionally, I'm sure, but they were misleading what the taxi driver was actually saying. And they're saying that the taxi driver's telling them, you know, where the action is and where everybody in Armenia goes. And sort of, but not really. The taxi driver was talking about family type of things, tourist types of things. He was actually talking about the coffee park and Finlandia and Salento, but they had captionized it and paraphrased it as being, you know, the party section of town where people go to drink and pick up chicks. And it's like, you know, again, why make the video? Why make the video? Just to expose your ignorance. And the sad part is, they're actually believing that that's the conversation that was going on. You know, everything was spooky and scary. Everything was, they were the first people. Several times the white dude kept saying about third world countries. It was all condescending. There was no redeeming value. They didn't point out anything of interest. They didn't really have anything to say except how scary it was, how adventurous they are, how everybody's interested in them. And, you know, we're getting the inside skinny on where the party scene is. And none of that was what was really happening. So I guess this is I'm asked all the time, do you watch this YouTuber? Do you watch that YouTuber? And there's only a couple that I'll watch. There's probably a handful or two that I actually think do a really good job and that I'll admire. But these are people in the world. But I just don't watch them very often. I don't really have any reason. Like Gabriel Traveler. I think he's very interesting. He's been doing it for a million years before YouTube. You know, and it's cool, but I don't really have any interest in his visit to Greece. You know, so I respect him. Once in a while, it'll pique my curiosity. I'll watch them. If it's a place I've been before, maybe I'll watch it. But generally, I don't. And so there's that category. Then you have a few, like you all know, if you're a regular viewer, that I really appreciate Afro Wahira. And I've explained in my last coffee time why. She unabashedly talks about the way she grew up in a village unlike any that most people experience, even Colombians. And so I find her fascinating, very entertaining, very funny. So, you know, I have respect for her. But then you got a whole series of guys that are primarily sensationalizing because they want to be, okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to kill myself later. Air quotes, YouTuber. They're trying to do clickbaity things. They're trying to bring some kind of interest or drama in. But, you know, like, oh, it's undiscovered country. Nobody's ever been here before. It's so dangerous. We're in the barrio now. You know, things like that. In order to grow views with dreams of we're going to make our living on YouTube, which is, it's kind of like if you're in high school and you're playing football, you have dreams of going to the NFL. I mean, yeah, it could happen. But the chances are like 1 out of 999 million kind of thing. So, and I guess what I want to say about this, if you want to do YouTube, do your homework, be authentic. Don't try to game the audience. Don't try to put out something because you think that's what's going to make you popular. Quit worrying about that and just worry about what's your point of doing that video. If they wanted to show Armenia, then their best bet would have actually found somebody locally that they could communicate with and pay them for the day to be their guide. And not just, take me to the tourist places, but what's happening in Armenia, what's of interest in Armenia. Maybe have a half an hour conversation over coffee about that, and then plan out your video, where you're going to go, how you're going to get there. Go do that so that people can get a sense of the place that you're visiting, and there's a purpose in what you're doing. People might find value in that. If they weren't going to visit, maybe it'll pique their interest to visit. If they were planning to visit, that can be a useful guide for them. But to go in and mock people and constantly complain and play it up for something that it's not and never show anything of interest, like I say, I skipped through quite a bit of the video, but I could see the video as I'm moving through it quickly. And I didn't see anything of interest. I really didn't. It's like they wanted to just hover around, stratus 2 and 3 neighborhoods and talk about the danger they're in, I guess. So I guess that's my rant today. Way too many people doing videos, putting the camera on girls' ass. Yes, I did that in one. I admit it. But I also put in the context, I did it for someone as a joke. It was kind of a tongue-in-cheek inside joke, and I mentioned it in a subtitle. I don't go around doing that. Now, is that legitimate? Well, sure, there's fine butts walking around everywhere. But it doesn't make for a very interesting video. Maybe you do that once. If you're 25 years old and you want to show how hot and sexy the girls are, look, I'm not a prude about that. So go out and do a video on that. Look at all these gorgeous women. But don't try to make a career out of it. What's the point in that? Do something else about it. And, so those kind of videos, I just have no interest in. This kind of, clickbait crap, I have no interest in. It didn't even represent, it didn't even show Armenia. It didn't even show anybody coming to Armenia. Chances are they will never go where these guys were anyway. Armenia is certainly not the ooh, so scary place. Yeah, crime happens here, crime happens everywhere, but it's not riddled with crime. And there's parts of the city where they've never experienced any crime, like where I live, so, okay. So now I'm rambling on. I'm going to turn this thing off. I'm going to upload it, and I would like your input. Do you think I'm overreacting? Do you think, I'm crazy about this? Do you think that some of these other YouTubers that I find not interesting, do you think they're actually a lot of value? Who is your favorite YouTuber that does Colombia? I'm curious about that. So because this comes up so much in comments, so I'm replying to comments as well as this video I stumbled across today. So that's it. Let me know in the comments. And last thing. In a coffee time, 2 coffee times ago, I asked, please, if you're not subscribed, subscribe. Do it in the next 2 days. Well, a lot of people did. The interesting thing to note is that in this past 2 weeks, where that had gone on, I did have a spike in subscribers. I could see it. But I only have 2 subscribers more than I had when I mentioned that 2 weeks ago. Yeah, they're deleting subscribers basically about as fast as they come in. I've been stuck at essentially the same subscriber level for the last 1.5 years, since I was demonetized. So that's it. I'll see you in the next coffee time. Ciao. Maybe before.
Yeah.